ask you something? How come you walk around before you start the song? I've noticed a lot of guys do that now. They kind of play a long intro and they kind of walk around and look the stage over.
Well, because my pants are too tight.
Oh, okay. Did you really say that you're not cool enough for L.A. and not fast enough for New York and you like to live in Bloomington? Is that a true quote?
Yeah, you know, I come to these cities and I'm like in awe of them, you know what I mean? Cities represent success to people, you know? And they all migrate here thinking they're going to find something. Mm-hmm. And I've met a lot of people that found nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, and plus in the rock and roll business, you get around people who, they get pretty impressed with themselves. Hey, you know, I got a song in the charts, I'm a big deal, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's easy to do, you know, and I meet people like that. I met a girl a couple years ago who did one of my songs, and when the record came out, she was real nice, and I understand now she's like a big hit, you know, and it's like, you know, so I don't know, so I just don't, I don't want to do that, you know, because in Indiana, you know, I'm driving my car, and there's some farmer with a big load of cow manure going, get your car out of the way, boy! You know?
And you get it out of the way,
That's right, it keeps you in your proper perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the story about the first time you came in here and left a demo tape and then went back to Indiana?
Well, it's kind of funny because a lot of kids, you know, come up and ask me, how do you get in the rock and roll business? Mm-hmm. And it's the first time I came here, I stayed at the Holiday Inn downtown, stayed in my room 2 days, wouldn't even come out.
You're kidding?
No, I was afraid, you know, it was like movies come to life, you know, and there's all these people, you know, I'm from Indiana, you know, I mean, you know, people walk slow.
Yeah, well, I'm from Wisconsin, they walk even slower, but I mean, there are some people who dawdle around this town, too. This isn't Speed City all the way, you know.
Well, it kind of is, you know, especially in the rock and roll business, you know, it's always, you know, like I'm here for, you know, 12 hours, and I'm going back. You know, it's like...
All right, so you take your demo tape over to the guy's office, right? And you leave it there and done.
It was funny because the first guy that managed me was a guy named Tony DeFries, managed David Bowie. And all I wanted to do initially was make a record, you know, ones that go around, you put sound, right, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. And I guess everywhere, you know, people say, you can't do it. You know, people that make records are from New York and Los Angeles, they're not from Indiana, you know. People in Indiana, you know, are farmers, and we work in factories. So when I came here, there was a big chip on my shoulder, people saying, hey, this ain't going to happen, you know. So I came here, and that's the reason I really came, was just to see if, you know, just to see somebody can knock that chip off. And when I got here, I took the demo tape over to him, and there were hundreds of guys there, you know. And David Bowie was a big star, and Mayman was a real high-profile thing, and I walked in was just one of many. But the end was, the girl who worked at Mayman was from Indiana. Was a receptionist. Okay. So how's that for walking in the right place at the right time? And I got this accent, you know, and people always say, well, you know, where you from? Where you from? And she didn't even ask. She goes, you're from Indiana. I'm from the same place. Yeah. She goes, what are you doing in a place like this? And I said, what are you doing in a place like this? So, you know, she pushed my tape more than she did the other guys, you know. They're all standing on high heels and all look like Bowie, right? You know, and I walked in looking like this, and I looked out of place, you know. Yeah. So it was crazy. But the bad thing that happened was that I didn't know anything about the business. And all I wanted to do was make a record, and so I made, what they gave me like $8,000 and said, go make a demo tape. So I'd never been to a studio before, so I went and recorded everybody else's songs, right? And I took them in there, and it came out an album, and I mean, it was they said, come and listen to it, and this is going to be your album. And I went, well, all right. I went to look at the album cover, didn't have my real name on it. My real name's not John Cougar, it's John Mellencamp. And I said, who's this fool? You know? What's this Johnny Cougar business? You know, that's not me. And he says, look, I made up the name David Bowie, and it worked for Bowie, and it'll work for you. And I'm some dumb kid, and I go, okay. You know? Okay. You know, and finally what happened, the real bottom line was, I said, well, I don't want it on. He says, if it's not on there, the record's not coming out. So I wouldn't have exactly had, the record companies weren't coming to Indiana and just offering me millions of dollars to play with them at that time, you know, so I had to take what I could get, you know?
Well, hey, listen, it's better than Johnny Mustang, you know what I mean?
Well, I kind of like that better, actually.
Okay, well, hey, come to New York again for 12 hours and get another name.
Really?
Thank you for being here with us tonight. Your song is terrific, and all good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
Stay as good as you are, will you? Okay, Mr. John Cougar. We'll continue from New York and Los Angeles right after these announcements. Thank you, John.